A while ago, I asked some gamers what frustrates them the most when they play TF2. I wanted to know what unique aspects of the game drive them mad. Things like taunting, certain cosmetics, decal tools, and people shooting your ragdoll. The results were interesting. First is the obvious that most people don't like snipers and engineers. They hate anything that kills you from what seems like a million miles away, unfairly, and they despise engineers with such strong defenses that bring the game to a miserable kind of halt. Snipers are a recurring discussion topic, and I could really go into it. I really could. But people just don't like taking a lot of damage in the middle of a 1v1. Then the kill cam zooms in on some snob with an ugly loadout or something that is intended to offend you or annoy you in any way possible. Having a team with too many snipers, demo knights, degreaser pyros, and other playstyles that don't feel like they help the team but serve as fodder for the other was another common point. People don't like taunting and in-game comments either. Someone saying, "Thanks, Pally," or using jeers when you already engaged in a fight with someone else seems to trouble people. It's like a pinch, like you just had to do it. You just had to piss me off like that. Players that use looping loud taunts like the engineer's banjo taunt with the Halloween set or the pyro's piano taunt, very irritating to a lot of people. And I can see why they get kicked constantly in servers if they ever start it up. It gets stale after 10 years, guys. For me, that's generic comp LARP cosmetics, all painted white and black. But for your sake, I have some more common buzzwords for it. I simply mean generally edgy, simplistic, yet old school, pandering loadouts with a matching Steam profile pic and profile. And from an experience perspective, you can tell they've never played the game seriously. Seriously, this thing just gets on my nerves. And I can see it and I can explain it to others, but they don't get it. And it's funny because why do any of these things even matter or offend in the first place? To me, why care what someone displays online? I think it comes down to having had at a younger age loadouts or a similar Steam profile picture myself that tried to mimic the ideal of what I saw as the peak of a TF2 identity. For me, I didn't start using these comp LARP loadouts, what a stupid term, until I started paying attention to the old school ESEA scene and the kind of cosmetics they used in frag movies. I like the idea of paying tribute to the old school, and I still enjoy those kind of cosmetics. And that's a whole other argument people can dive into, what to wear, what not to wear, that I briefly talked about a bit in my other video on like how to look good, and people got mad at that. But maybe it's just about a trained perception and understanding intent from people. Why do people dress and do the things they do? Why would someone choose to dress a certain way? Not just putting on whatever's comfortable, but dressing like they just got out of bed for a photo shoot, knowing full well people are going to take photos of them. Anyway, here are some more things people got mad about. Things like the loose cannon at choke points where demo men can just spam cannonballs mindlessly. Heavies defaulting to the Tomislav when stock or another minigun would be better. Medics using the quick fix instead of other miniguns that can push harder. Or vaccinators on offense when you need an Uber. On the vocal front, people don't like jerks and cheaters. The mood of the server can be rude by yelling in voice chat or vote kicking for no reason at all. Though I think sometimes it can be funny depending on what side of the argument you're on or witnessing. Unhelpful team behavior, like medics not providing enough overheal or not pocketing and floating around teammates instead of pushing forward. It's pretty frustrating. Some people don't get upset at any form of playing the game, just AFKing, like spiritually, since it's meant to be played in any way people want. The one thing that I know for certain pisses everyone off is spawn camping. Spawn camping extending your respawn time, which especially annoys players on maps with even longer respawn times like Steel, where you could be waiting upwards of a minute to even leave spawn. And, it's funny, how people pick up on these things and why they get mad at them. Most folks just mimic what they see. Take me for example. For instance, when I'm in MGE, my gaming edge, I don't even want to be there. But my friends spam thanks and voice lines at me because they know it drives me nuts. And why do they do it? Because I started it. Back in the day when I introduced them to this game and I played it competitively and had a more serious drive for being good at it, I'd win and beat them, like 20-0 or 20-4 or 20-6. And I would just spam Soldier's thanks line over and over again. Or when I was at Demo Man, I'd say, thanks, mate. And I picked that up from seeing people get mad at me when I did it in pubs. Isn't it unique how these habits stick around? How they perpetuate and infect people? It's not entirely bad, mind you. A lot of people, some of you included, me, are guilty of schadenfreude, taking pleasure in others' pain. So don't think I'm convicting anyone, I'm just analyzing, really. Now to go back briefly on that thing that bugs me, I can't stand people who pretend to be sincere competitive players when they're not. It's just something that I've grown to see over the thousands of hours that I've accumulated. It's like an ironic stolen valor, if you could call it that. I hold those early UGC ESEA Fortress memories so dear that when I see this pretentious LARP, it infuriates me. For example, let's say there's some dingus sniper on the other team with a 6-stack open Highlander team behind him. Back in my day, that used to be steel and iron. Somehow bots didn't get in the server. You can already tell the kind of person he is. He has an SFM profile picture, and he says he's been playing the game since 2009, even though his account is from 2014, and his mercenary badge probably says he came after Jungle Inferno. He's at the top of that sniper sightline on Frontier 2nd, shooting everyone down the hill. You could go Demo Man with a sticky jumper and a grenade and, bomb him, kill him, taunt him after you kill him, or be a baby in chat. But I like to identify a few common factors of things that make people angry. Some weapons and cosmetics have frustrated people for now past a decade, and you can combine all these things to flip it on its head. I'll give you an example. I have the funny banana hat because I think it makes people ironically mad, it gets some laughs, and it does happen to piss people off by occasion. Friends get a kick out of it, like, oh, Voosh is doing the bit again with the banana hat. I don't like this hat, I don't think it belongs in the game, but he's my friend, so I'm gonna give him a kind of like, a wink and a nudge. There's a concoction of annoying items like the Sydney Sleeper or the Machina with the anger equipped. Does anyone else remember achievement idle servers or old trading and achievement servers where you'd always have this sniper? And this still goes on. Traders or players that play the game inside of these trading servers instead of using it for its purpose, trading. They always have an anger and an upper hand or a Machina and just snipe from spawn to spawn like on 2 Fort battlements. One of my earliest memories playing this game was trying to be a bleed scout and kill traders spy crabbing while some guy with a genuine anger and a genuine upper hand kept body shotting me and taunting me. He told me to grow a pair and quit playing it. I should have taken his advice, but these memories are so charming and nostalgic to me today. We look back at them with rose-tinted goggles, you know how it is. I think the reason we kind of memorize all these annoying traits that people do in pubs or in games is because some of us have tried it or learned it from happening to us when we were starting. It's finding a new unique way to express emotions. For example, like a Lenny binder saying thanks or using the jeers command or even taunting people. It's an option. It's a way to communicate how you feel more accurately in the game. In some areas, players have to make up for that, such as the generic naughty word loadouts with decal tools. And again, it's so interesting how games handle this nowadays because we see the idea of taunts kind of removed from a majority of games and presently rebranded as emotes, with the more friendly character reflected intention. You can never really get rid of the Halo teabag or the Dark Souls point down. Gamers will always find a way to insult each other. It's a rite of passage at this point. Anyway, enough of that rant. What makes you mad? What frustrates you? What makes you think, I'm annoyed right now? How do you express this? How do you deal with this anger when you play TF2? Is it Lime Scouts? Is it a reaction with the Lenny bind, a certain weapon, hat, or color? The character of the person behind the screen. Why would they spend so many hours and still act like a child? I'm curious. Tell me below, if you dare. And take care.